Good evening, Dr. Raad. It is a real pleasure and an honor to have Dr. Raad with us. He is the Distinguished Professor of Medicine and the Chairman for the Infection Disease Department as well as Infection Control at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Texas. It is a real honor to have you with us, Dr. Raad, and we have a couple of questions for you. The first one is, in your opinion, how long will this epidemic last? Meaning, when do we think that we will be able to get rid of it completely?
Thank you, Dr. Gergawi. Again, it's such an honor to be with you on this interview as an expert in infectious disease and infection control. How long would this epidemic last? We cannot tell. As I mentioned in a previous interview, there is a promise by what we're seeing, what has happened in China and in South Korea. With diligence in terms of social distancing and applying measures of massive testing in people, particularly in people who are having some early symptoms, and isolating those, that now they are reached the peak and now are on the downward part of the curve. So this is very promising, and I think this would tell us that maybe if we do the same for a few weeks, and I don't know how many weeks, that we would be able to put this behind us. This is extremely important. Now, there are some studies were not very well verified, that if you look in China, for example, the areas that had a temperature of above 28 degrees were places were hit the least with this virus. At the same time, there is in vitro studies that this virus does not, I'm talking centigrade degrees, does not tolerate for more than 10 minutes a heat more than 28 degrees. I'm not sure about those because we're seeing cases in Australia, and now it's summer in Australia. So we're not sure about this part, but I think if we do our diligence and try to do social distancing, isolation of cases, staying at home, sheltering as they call it, it might be helpful to really stop this kind of outbreak in maybe certain weeks. I can't tell how many weeks. The main important challenge is how we can balance applying this isolation and sheltering and social distancing to an extreme in the West without really affecting a massive economic depression, which really would affect another problem in the world, which is the issue of hunger and famines and so forth. This is the big challenge.
Dr. Raad, my second question is there any objective evidence that can explain the hysteria behind all of the panic that we see around the world?
Yeah, I think there is you have to understand that there is the way the world reacted to this, especially through the social media, and as we're becoming very connected, is in one of two ways, and both are two extremes, should not happen. One is with neglect and minimizing it and showing that there is no need to take any precautions, especially among the young people going to beaches and to parties, beaches and parties, which is a disaster. And I think there was negligence, for example, in some places, maybe some places in Europe, that led to this kind of massive. The other extreme is going into panic, which has paralyzed the system in a major way, or overutilized some necessary resources that we have, such as the panic that hit the world in some areas, and all of a sudden they started consuming the masks. And now hospitals where they need them, we are having shortage of masks. The other thing, for example, there's some promises about the chloroquine. Now everybody wants to use chloroquine prophylactically and as a prevention. Now hospitals are deprived of chloroquine to use it on patients with high morbidities or cancer where they have the chloroquine, where they need the chloroquine. Not to say that chloroquine is very promising. So this is the problem we have. And I think I really want to reach out to my dear brothers and sisters, healthcare workers and otherwise, and especially who know the Lord. We need to be people who are reasonable with a sound mind. Avoid the panic, but don't be negligent. Let's really apply all of these social distancing, but avoid panic and have the peace of the Lord that can guide you, and with the calmness we can overcome coronavirus.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raad, for these words of wisdom. Thank you.